Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you should all know who this is by now. Davinci the poet, James Darnell, and I'm back with another one. I got my tea. Let's take a sip. Let's put that off to the side. And we're going to do something a little different today. We're going to talk about Fougeres. I have 5 Fougeres that I'm going to show. I'm going to name the definition of Fougere, and I'm going to let you know, my opinions on these Fougeres. So, as I always start off every video, you know what it is. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Okay, so Fougeres. What is a Fougere per se? So, first things first is usually people associated Fougeres with the barbershop vibe. That's not necessarily true for every Fougere. It's not going to smell like technically aftershave, or it's going to smell like an actual barbershop. But that's most commonly associated with a Fougere is that barbershop vibe. So I did some research and I found a website titled parfume.com, and they gave a definition of Fougeres and what's included in Fougeres, and it was a really good definition. So I'll read that off to you guys. So the name Fougere, it originates from the French word for fern. So so that's really the origin. It's French and it comes from the word fern. Fougere is not a single ingredient, so don't get it twisted thinking that there's one single ingredient that makes up a Fougere, because it's not. It is a combination of fragrance ingredients that creates a typical perfume. It can have more ingredients in the fragrance, but as long as they have these certain ingredients, then it'll be a Fougere. So a classic Fougere usually contains cormoran, bergamot, lavender, vetiver, geranium, and oak moss. Is usually in there. So if you have a combination of any of those ingredients, you're gonna get that typical Fougere vibe, that Fougere smell. Like I said, you can combine them with other notes. You can have, some floral notes in there. You can have green notes, citrusy notes, spicy, woody notes. But at the same time, you're still gonna get that Fougere vibe if you have any of the other ingredients that I previously mentioned. So without further ado, let's get into the actual scents that I have near me. So first things first, the first scent is from the house of Azzaro. This one is Azzaro Quorum. This one was launched in 1978, so this is the oldest scent that I actually have in my Fougere category. Azzaro Quorum, it was created by Gerard Anthony and Richard Ritz. The top notes are lavender, anise, lemon, caraway, basil, bergamot, clary sage, and iris. Mid notes contain vetiver, sandalwood, patchouli, cedar, juniper berries, and cardamom. And the base notes are oak moss, leather, amber, musk, and tonka bean. Mm, it's just so beautiful. Um, Remember, Fougeres aren't for everyone, but they do bring out the manly man in scents. So, as you can see, lavender is in Azzaro Plum, bergamot, vetiver, oak moss, and those are some of the main scents that make up a Fougere, as I mentioned by the definition. This one definitely does the job. If you see this at your rack stores, don't hesitate to pull it out and buy it. I heard the Intense is even better. Azzaro Poem Intense, I heard it's even better. But at the same time, if you can't find the Intense and you just get the OG, you're good to go. That's from the house of Azzaro. It is Azzaro Poem. Okay, so the next scent is a scent that not too many people really have heard about, per se, in my opinion. But that's from the House of Quorum. It is the original Quorum by Antonio Pugh. So this scent contains artemisia, caraway, lemon bergamot, grapefruit. Middle notes are pine tree, sandalwood, patchouli, carnation, cyclamen, and jasmine. The base notes are oak moss, tobacco, leather, and amber. This was created by Max Gavari and Rosinto Matu. So this one is a little bit different than Azzaro Quorum in the fact that, to me, the woody notes of the pine tree, sandalwood, things like that kind of jump out. So it smells a little bit more woody based than Azzaro Quorum, but at the same time, still a lovely scent. The notes in here that make up a Fougere, of course, are bergamot. They have oak moss. I see in here too. So you already know you're going to get that barbershop kind of, Fougere vibe from this. And this is from the house of Quorum. It is Quorum by Antonio Pugh. The next one is a classic Fougere that pretty much, not even just Fougeres, but just colognes in general. You've most likely heard about it. Maybe you smelt it, maybe you haven't. Because you probably seen this at your rack stores and probably just passed it up because you was like, I don't know, that's just my grandpa's scent. But that's from the house of Guy Laros. It is Dracar Noir. This was launched in 1982, so a year after Quorum was released. The nose behind this fragrance is Pierre Wagny. Top notes are lavender, lemon, bergamot, rosemary, mint, lemon verbena, basil, and artemisia. Mid notes are juniper, coriander, cinnamon, carnation, wormwood, angelica, and jasmine. And base notes are oak moss, leather, fir, pine tree needles, sandalwood, vetiver, patchouli, cedar, amber, and resins. So in this one, you have that lavender that makes up a Fougere. You have oak moss in here. You have vetiver. So you know you're going to get that barbershop vibe. With this one, that makes it different from the other two is you have kind of some spicy notes in here as well. You have cinnamon. You have let's see. You have cinnamon. You have rosemary. You have mint. So you kind of getting some of those spicy vibes in there. Um, you do have some citrusy notes, like you do have lemon. You have lemon verbena in there as well, and then it rests on some woody notes, like you have sandalwood, for example. You have pine tree needles. You have a little bit of leather in there that makes it smell really good as well. But this is the OG. When you think of Fougeres, the first one you think about most likely is Dracar Noir. So again, from the house of Guy Laros Paris, it is Dracar Noir. So the next scent is another one that people don't really talk about like I thought they would, but it's an overall lovely scent. And this one is from the house of Boss by Hugo Boss. It is Boss number one. This one came out in 1985, so just a few years after Dracar Noir and Quorum. The nose behind this fragrance is also PR Wardeny. The top notes are artemisia, bergamot, juniper, lemon, green apple, caraway, basil, and grapefruit. The mid notes are honey, lavender, rose, jasmine, sage, geranium, lily of the valley, and orris root. The base notes are tobacco, oak moss, patchouli, sandalwood, musk, amber, cinnamon, and cedar. So in this one, we have the bergamot, we have the oak moss, and we have the lavender. But this one, what makes it different is it has rose in there. I noticed that right off the bat. That makes it a little bit different. Tobacco is in here. Has some grapefruit that makes it a little citrusy. juniper in here, lemon, green apple. It has a little bit of spicy notes. Like I do see that there's some cinnamon in there, some woody notes in the sandalwood. It's musky. It has some amber, but overall a great scent. This one right here is my most complimented Fougere. I've definitely gotten compliments from the ladies and the gentlemen for this scent. So it definitely does the job. If you see this at your rack store, do not pass it up. And that's Boss Number One by Hugo Boss. The next one is the most recent release from this house. This one actually does smell really good. It smells of niche quality. I always talk about how TLTT Reviews got Justin Copeland at Stay Fresh Productions to smell this scent, and he literally thought it was of niche quality, and he compared it to other niche scents as he blind smelled a bunch of scents, and he gave this one the highest rating. This is a $15-$20 scent from the house of Perry Ellis. It's Perry Ellis Portfolio Elite. So, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You don't have to always spend a lot of money to get a good quality scent. So this one right here it was launched in 2001. So that's why I say this is the baby of the scents. The nose behind this fragrance is Lac Dome. Top notes are apple, white currant, and artemisia. Mid notes are geranium, lily of the valley, cardamom, and caraway. Base notes are musk, oak moss, vetiver, amber, cedar, and tonka bean. So in this one, right off the back, I do see that there's oak moss in there as far as one of the base notes. I'm starting to see this artemisia note a lot in these fragrances. So I might have to associate that with a Fougere. I'm not really sure, but I've noticed that pretty much in almost every one of these scents there's artemisia. So yeah, what I do like about this one is that this one is actually one of those scents that you can kind of get away with wearing all year round. With all the rest of these scents, they're mainly good for more of the colder weather. But at the same time, I do like every last one of these scents. This one is a little bit more sweet with the tonka bean. It does have apple in here that smells really good in this scent. The white currant is amazing, and this one is it's great. $15 to $20 depending on where you get it from. It is just amazing, and this is from the house of Perry Ellis. It is Perry Ellis Portfolio Elite. And that's it. With all of these scents, though, you can find them at your rack stores, your Burlington Co. factories, your Ross Dress for Less, your TJ Maxx, or your Marshalls. Lately, my TJ Maxx and Marshalls have been horrible, so I've been going to Ross Dress for Less and I've been going to Burlington to get my scents. But at the same time, I'm not sure how the TJ Maxx and the Marshalls in your area. Every once in a while, I do go to Nordstrom Rack to get scents, but at the same time, I've never seen Fougeres over there. So if you're looking for a Fougere, I don't think that's the best place to go to. But let's put these in order from best to worst, in my opinion. In my opinion, the number one scent is going to be Perry Ellis Portfolio Elite. Second in command right behind that is going to be Boss Zero Boss Number One. Third is going to be from the house of Guy Laurice Paris. It's Dracar Noir. Fourth in command is going to be Azzaro quorum. And then last but not least is going to be quorum. So there you have it. There's a little bit about Fougeres. 5 cents that you can buy for cheap. These scents are literally $15 to $20 scents. Some of them may be even cheaper depending on where you get them from. But they all do the job. They project excellently. They last a long time. And definitely you will get compliments from the right people. So as I always say, peace. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to like, comment, subscribe, and tell them that D. Davinci the Poet does poetry and sim reviews. And I'm out. God bless.